All right, day 5, motors and generators. So let's talk about what we're going to be looking at today. We're going to be looking at motors and generators. And the idea is that motors use electricity, magnets, and wires to produce motion, where generators use motion, magnets, and wires to produce electricity. See how they're opposites? Electricity, magnets, and wires give you motion. Generators, motion with magnets and wires gives you electricity. So let's take a look at a couple of these things. Over here I've got a super simple motor. You know how we were talking about you could run electricity through a coil? Well, that's just a coil of wire. It's connected to a battery. We've got our electromagnet. And there's a couple of permanent magnets right there. And as this spins, there's a little piece of plastic that kind of gets in the way of the circuit. So it's an electromagnet that's being turned on and off very, very quickly. So it's being pulled and then it's being turned off, and it gets pulled and it gets turned off, and it gets pulled and it gets turned off. But the fact that we can take electricity and wires and magnets, we can get motion. A more, fancy one.
An example of a what?
That's an example of a motor. And we've got a little bit more of a fancy motor here. This is a store-bought one. And we've got, once again, wires, magnets, and electricity. And so we can connect that together, and we have to give it a little bit of a push. And now we've got motion. So magnets, wires, electricity, and we get motion.
So, Mr. Holliday, what if I add more coils?
So if you added more coils, what do you think would happen? Would you get a stronger motor? Well, in fact, here's a motor from one of my power tools. And it was a very powerful table saw that died, and so I dissected it and came up with this guy right here. So we've got lots of wires. There's magnets in there. There's other wires, and this is actually have 2 electromagnets that really pull and push against each other. These things get pretty complicated, but the basic idea is that a motor is just magnets and wires and electricity, and you get motion. The opposite of that is a generator, and over here we've got a generator we bought from a science supply store, and we have magnets here, we've got wires right here, and I'll provide the motion right here. See the light over here lighting up?
So, Mr. Holliday, on a generator, there's not a battery, right?
There's absolutely no power source. I am the power source. I'm converting my energy into motion. The motion is making the wires move around the magnets, and out we get electricity. With the motor, we put electricity in, and we get motion out. Here, we put motion in, we get electricity out.
So
Generators, they're just opposites of motors.